Hey everyone, welcome back to the Archangel 15. Today's video presentation is on my ability to control the ionosphere and manifest cloud formations. If you do not have any prior knowledge of this esoteric phenomenon, I encourage you to research it for yourself, and you will see that it is actually very true. And when you first hear about it, you may be saying, what kind of drugs is this guy on? Or, this isn't possible, or, something like this. I assure you that every picture that I'm going to show you in this presentation is 100% true, like real. I did not Photoshop it in any way, shape, or form. Did not use any type of presentation software on it. They're my own pictures. For every one that I took, I have probably 10 or 100 that either I didn't have time to get the camera out and take the picture and it disappeared, or I was driving down the road, or I just decided not to take it at all because I have so many other ones, and I try to keep the quality ones at this point. I have probably thousands and thousands and thousands of these photos. Some of them are kind of like the Rorschach ink blot test, like a psychological thing where like you see, like I see this, you see that. Other ones are bluntly crystal clear. You can totally tell what they are. It's like unmistakable. And this gets like into like almost like proof of God or proof of like a spiritual element or a mysticism, I guess you could say. There's a lot of related phenomenon to this. I'm going to try to cover as much as I can. I want to move along, and I first found out about this in 2015 while studying the work of the late great Andrija Puharich. He's the godfather of parapsychology and worked with many psychics, divine people who had just like same thing that I'm talking about, like certain abilities that defied physics, I guess you could say. Supposedly people that could like bend spoons, definitely psychics like myself. I've done various other presentations on many other things, and I encourage you to look at my past work, particularly about the ABRH negative Ashkenazi Russian Jewish bloodline, same as what Mr. Puharich came from. You can still find some of Andrija Puharich's presentations that he did from years ago on YouTube. He's now deceased, but I highly encourage you to check out his work. Very profound, impactful, and there's definitely like I said, like not many people that talk about this, or like this is like something that could probably get you killed, or like it falls into the whole line about the ABRH negative bloodline of how like the Roman Catholic Church is on this pernicious effort to like kill people like us off and suppress us and hide from humanity the truth about the real descendants of Jesus Christ and Mary Magdalene. And this is like not a matter of opinion, but this is fact. Like I am very, very deeply suppressed, basically held hostage by the military-industrial complex with my mother, and they've stolen many kids from us, and they keep me very financially suppressed. I continually try to break free. Like John Forbes Nash, if you ever watched his stuff, like first off, I don't believe he was as crazy as they made him look like. They probably continually poisoned his food, like they probably do to me and others. And like I said, if you fall out of the lines of the conformity and everything, or like you start to break free or buck up and talk about stuff that nobody else talks about, then you become a very easy target for them. And like I said, they like to steal little kids. They've been doing this for decades. I'm not going to talk any more about that. It seems like I always cover it at least once in every presentation. Very, very personal to me. They don't have the real bloodlines of divinity. They do not have the Holy Grail. They have fragments of stolen pieces of it, and basically will face judgment in due time. I'll leave it at that. I'm going to post a link to my pictures in the end, or like in the intro here. You can see, for yourself. And like I said, it's definitely delves into, like I said, a deeper understanding of angels, aliens, demons, people who had near-death experiences, rare bloodlines, incarnate beings. And like I said, I've done a lot of other work on this. Please check it out. And like I said, the ABRH negative bloodline is the same blood type that Jesus Christ had, found in the Shroud of Turin, where there's an electrocharged negative or image on the inverse, and that's how they know that. And there really are angels, prophets, mystics, incarnate beings, and demons alike that walk among men. Everybody is not actually created equal. Science tells us otherwise. It's just a matter of fact, not just with bloodlines, but other aspects as well. And it's notable that this phenomenon controls more prevalently in certain areas. I consider myself to be an expert on ley lines and earth energies. This is a good resource. I actually did like a whole separate presentation on ley lines and earth energies in my Theory of Everything presentation series. I forget what number it was. It's an 11-hour presentation series where I cover a lot of ground. I forget which one it was, but like there's basically a Lagrange points and like a grid throughout the entire Earth where like light, energy, magnetism flow differently through these areas than other areas, and subsequently time. It basically manipulates dimensions and time. This is a good book, Secrets of the Unified Field. Gets into UFO phenomenon, also about the like I said, just deep into the unified field, and the Philadelphia experiment, the Nazi bell, and talks about people who were visited by real life men in black, people from the government, and were either killed or told if they talked about any of this stuff that they would be killed. Great book here, The Harmonic Conquest of Space by Bruce Cathy, an airplane pilot from New Zealand. New Zealand's one of the few countries where airplane pilots are allowed to talk about UFO phenomenon without being fired and having their flight license taken away from them. Talks about certain spots, like he basically draws all these lines on the Earth, and like found certain corollaries between I guess history, stuff that happened over history, famous architectural structures. Like I said, cited UFO sightings, other crazy things like cattle mutilations, alien abductions. I don't have time to go into all that. I want to focus on the core of this is my ability to control, like to actually prove this in a sense. And it gets deeper into an understanding of magnetism. Please know that. And I talked about this, like I said, in depth. And I noticed like certain places like this occurs more, like particularly like I used to go to the horse track. I'm kind of opposed to horse racing now, but I noticed that like certain formations would just manifest, and like there's certain themes to these that are continuous. They come up. Like I'll get into that here in a little bit, but it's very like when it happens, it's very like angelic. It's very heavenly. It like happens like almost like they just like roll up out of thin air, like almost like you see in artwork with like the cherubs and the angels. Very, very mystical. And it definitely, like I said, a spiritual element to this. I'm gonna like, and it's almost like it's something it's like spirits that are trying to speak to you or like convey a message to you, and like it's almost like in metaphoric hyperbole, if that makes any sense. It's like it may not like some of it's very crystal clear. There's it's like the picture, like I said, but the other things are kind of like open to interpretation. I want to explain one, like one that I saw. I don't actually have the picture of, but like in 2015. I was out going to get the mail, my sister's house in Maryland, and I saw like a blue marlin, a huge cloud that looked just like a blue marlin, like a big, like a grander blue marlin, 1,000-pound blue marlin, and it was like getting eaten up by like a huge beast. Like I don't want to say a shark, but something like much bigger. It was like it was like God or something trying to tell me that like the whole thing is much bigger. Like we think that like 1,000-pound blue marlin is like the pinnacle, like the king of the salt water. But like in truth, that like there were probably things that were like alive long ago that would eat them for like nothing. Like I don't know, get into like the Loch Ness monster or stuff like that. But also like maybe that like the blue marlin represents like the white blue-eyed people that are like basically going to like be eaten up like dinosaurs were like extinct like by like a gray race of sorts or something like this. And like I feel like kind of like a connection to these two themes that like continually show up over time. I'm very, very, and then also like the happy hunting grounds is like another big one as well. It's like this, like a spiritual element. Like I truly believe that like the whole Native Americans were big into this about the happy hunting grounds. Like I believe other people had these abilities or saw these certain shapes and like knew this as well. And like people like Washington probably wrote about this in their journals, and these journal articles are very, very deeply suppressed. And it's probably where they got the whole idea of the happy hunting grounds from. And like definitely like they tell me like I'm truly convinced that Trump and others were behind 9/11. Like he actually wrote about it in his book like 16 months before it happened. Like I've seen shapes. Like I've also seen shapes of like invention ideas, like things that like I was thinking of, and they told me exactly like how to like design it or engineer it. Like it's like amazing. Like this the potential here is like amazing. I get very, very heavily chemtrailed for this. I'll show you pictures. Like when Trump was in, it was a lot worse, to be honest with you. I really believe that there's like a deeper conspiracy with like him trying to steal bloodlines of divinity, and it like I really believe instigated like secret wars that were going on. There's also a book called Hold a Pale White Horse. I forget the guy's name, but like the guy, William Cooper, actually his name was, and he actually was killed, I think, shortly after making that, or died. He was like a naval intelligence person, and talks about the like secret weapons, secret wars, all this crazy stuff. And like I said, basically covers. So like, as far as the common themes go, UFOs, like elephants, like with like mysticism or like spiritualism, ducks, beasts, demons, elongated skulls, shoes, like certain sexual euphemisms, and it definitely gets into, like I said, a deeper understanding of wave theory. How things manifest through light, like aether, which I've talked about aether numerous times, which is like Greek mythology, the upper level air that gods breathe. Like basically, number one, hydrogen, the sun, gives birth to like eight, which is oxygen. Then hydrogen and plus the oxygen together create water, which is like clouds, and like gets into the whole thing of the blue sky. And I've talked about this in theory, my theory of everything, and it gets into like sound, vibration, light, and deeper quantum physics anomalies, which if you understand quantum physics, you understand like light, energy, vibration, sound. They're all complements of each other. They're all the same, basically complements of the electromagnetic spectrum, which really relates to burning hydrogen. I will share with you, like I said, some of the photos, and like I said, I know that there's thousands more, and I've seen like times the sky looked like it was just going to open up, like certain things, like almost like prophetic by nature, very very prophetic. And it like really connects the dots and bridges the gap between religion, aliens, spirituality, and it's like basically the old white Christians people and like the Freemasons, they like keep this information suppressed from humanity. They like don't want people to know this because they know that like it connects like Islam, it connects like the whole thing that like the Indians are into with like karmic energy and other things as well. Like it like connects everything together, and like they don't want people to know this or like understand the true nature about our God. And they want everything to be just in a certain little niche for them and their kids to control everybody and keep their mind in a box. And they want to like people that can do this are like a threat to them. If they were to like somebody like me were to get up on a stage and outside and with a mass of people, and there were to be clouds that were to show certain shapes, they would people would like deify you or something like this, or they think that, oh my goodness, this is maybe one of God's messengers, and like they would never let this happen. And like it's very sad to be me in the end. Like I can tell you that like my food has been poisoned for a very long time. I really believe that they did this to John Forbes Nash. He was a week away from getting ready to publish Faster Than Speed of Light Theory, which I support. And supposedly he had his car crash or whatever with his wife. And there's other things that he was working on too. And like I said, if you understand, basically, like I could be targeted just for talking about this. Please respect the fact that this is very esoteric by nature, and I don't know of anybody else that really talks about this. I know that a friend of mine acknowledged this and told me that it's easier to do this on the West Coast, supposedly. And someday I'm going to write a book about many various topics, and hopefully they would actually publish it. Out in Amish country where I'm from, it happens like it's like I think it correlates to like a higher level of consciousness. Like the people there don't have power lines, they like or like they have like their own generators or whatever. And like I find that like in Amish country, it's like it happens more prevalent. Like this beautiful manifestation of the clouds, and like they're not, like I said, they have horses, and they live a much purer, simpler life. And there's definitely like a connection there. And it's like I said, like these formations, specific formations, are part of like a deeper matrix where everything is unilaterally connected between numbers, symbols, signs, and codes. Here's a little tidbit for you that I truly believe that the matrix all traces back to China. Like a lot of these symbols are actually like Chinese symbols. I'm going to share with you, and like understand that like, okay, it all had to start from like a singularity or a single point in the matrix. Like God created the earth. Then like this happened. Okay, so this connects to this connects to this connects to that, and it bridges out. So like, who goes back the furthest that we know about? The Chinese. Probably they're like aliens. If you understand enigmatic, elongated cranial skull formation, you understand this. And like I said, I really believe that they hold the matrix, and that like they engineered certain elements into the matrix, almost like a computer program for like where like almost like it's like back engineered to where it all ends with them. That's just my opinion. Kind of gets into artificial intelligence and other things as well. But anyhow, in my opinion, like this suppression is done by nihilistic people who are like Satanistic or Satanists, and they want to suppress God's messengers and the angels among men. And I'm going to start here with my little slideshow. Sorry for the poor production quality. I have this on like selfie mode, so everything I'm showing you is going to be transposed, like inverse, like looking at it in a mirror. And you'll see if you look at the link that I post, you'll see them differently. So that's why they're backwards. Okay, so starting with this one, this is the chemtrails that I would get on a regular basis. Like if I would ever go to a city or something, like this was very common. Like I had about 50 other pictures of this. And when Trump was in, it was way worse. I noticed when Obama was in, it wasn't as bad. But like it seems like whenever there's a Republican in, it's worse. Like a UFO like cloud. Kind of another one. It's not really as good. Just also like you can see these like weird figures here. They continually show up, and I'll show you some better ones. But like even just the ability to like have beautiful sunsets and everything. Here's one. It looks like a shoe that I have. The shoe is a very common theme. It really doesn't. It's kind of hard here. I'm sorry again for the poor video quality. A beast with horns. This is like a 3 or an E. Also, the diffraction of light. This is the Masonic Temple, the George Washington Masonic Temple in Alexandria, Virginia. And like this light was shining at a specific angle right on the temple when I was walking across this bridge. Like it was shining right on the Washington Masonic Temple. Kind of interesting there. Here's another one of chemtrails. Another shoe. This one's very clear, like in my opinion. Like a lot of the shoes are continuous. It's like a fish almost, like a dragon or something. It's like some kind of horn, like a horned beast or ram. Some other kind of figure. This is like a aardvark, like anteaters at nighttime. You can actually see it a lot clearer than this in the picture. I'm going to post it. Like I said, you'll see it. Another UFO looking cloud. Another shoe. You can see a picture of like a face here. Some kind of beast-like figure there. Like a duck or bird. Some other, like kind of like an elongated skull. I have some better ones here. I'm going to show you. A boot. One of the better shoes. Some kind of a long-nosed bird or something here. Again, the shoe, same one I showed you. Here's a beast with 2 horns. Anyways, gets into prophecy. I think it's in the book of Daniel. And it's like I was looking, it talks about looking across a river and seeing a beast with 2 horns. It's also like an Egyptian figure as well. That they should in hieroglyphics. I've seen this before. This is like an oil lamp, or you say like for gravy or oil, or very prophetic there also. And talks about that in the Old Testament books. Another beast with 2 horns. It's like a number 7 there. Another type of beast. This one here is one of my favorite. This is actually the Quilin. gets into the ancient Chinese unicorn. And there's like very, very deep symbolism behind it. It's like a total, like, it's, if you look up the Quilin, total, that's what this is. Chinese unicorn. Yeah, dragon. Chinese unicorn dragon. This one is like an elongated skull, or like some kind of like a figure, almost like holding his hand up. You can't really see it as good on the slideshow. This is like some kind of a winged bird. Another one of these UFO clouds. You see like a beast here. Open his mouth. Another type of beast. This gets into James. This is out of James Clerk Maxwell's treatise on magnetism, and it gets into how like magnetism flows through the earth, like much deeper than I can go into right here. Very complex. This is how currents flow through the earth. You can see there's one spot in Washington D.C., another spot near New Zealand where Bruce Cathy was from, and at certain points where the yellow and the red lines cross each other, and there's like two currents that intersect. These are Earth chakras. Pyramids of Giza is one of them. California, near Australia. It goes on and on. This is even deeper. Like I said, if you draw lines, you can see James Clerk Maxwell's same thing here, basically. This was in, like I was telling you, in certain areas they're more prevalent. It actually looks more like a UFO in the picture. It's kind of hard here to see it, like, I'm holding it so close. But this was on one side of the street, and this is the Washington Masonic Temple on the other. There's like a lot of associated stuff with UFOs in Washington. This is in Kiev, Ukraine. You can see here like this beast, like a bull or something like this. This actually looked, I took it a little bit late, but it was like an upside down horse, like a big white horse, and like the rays of light were just emanating from it. I was with this girl who had type A negative blood type, and like I have B positive, and it was like some type of bigger matrix or code, and like almost like a sign from above, and like it was just amazing. It's kind of cool when you're on a date and like you can do stuff with the clouds, I might add. But behold, like very, very big into prophecy. Like I said, the one is like a beast. He in Daniel, he like looks across the river and sees a beast with two horns. The other one is, behold, a pale white horse, and his rider was death, and hell followed with him. And it's like, this is the beginning. It talks about the four horsemen of the apocalypse, which is like very, very open to interpretation. But like after this happened, like a lot of crazy stuff started happening in the world. It talks about like wars and famines and rumors of wars, and like all these plagues are going to hit the earth, like almost like similar to what we have now. Behold, a pale white horse. His rider was death, and hell followed with him. Another UFO cloud, and some of them are there's the beast with two horns again, like I said, prophecy. You can see this like beast going after something to eat, like a dragon. An elongated skull, like an alien. I have some better ones I'm going to show you, I promise. This is like a knife. Or no, this is like a dolphin, a mahi mahi fish. I saw this at nighttime, and it was like in the city. And like if you see here, like this is totally a mahi mahi, it's like a cow mahi mahi, and I'll show you. I posted pictures a little bit better. You can see the tail and everything. You can look a picture up what that fish looks like. Another one of the bulls. This was in this like a couple minutes after I took this one. A cow is a female, a bull is a male. This is like of a person's face, like almost like a Stonehenge, or like the Sphinx or something like that. Kind of interesting thing there. This is of like a rabbit. Looks like a rabbit. Another UFO thing, but this is not a cloud. This is like a hole into a cloud, and sometimes it's like it's just weird how they come up. The UFO things is very, very prevalent. This one here, okay, I saw one day. I was walking back, and you can see the face. I mean, you can clearly see that this is a face. Like the smile, the eyes, the nose, and like the hair. It's almost like a Sonic the Hedgehog or like some kind of incarnate being. And like it's like a demon or something, to be honest with you. It's really what it is. It's like a demon. And like here, if you look, picture when I was fishing, the same thing is right here. The same figure. And they were two different pictures. I promise you, they were two different separate photos. Not the same one. That's one right there. I'm gonna go back to the other one. You can see it there. Same thing again. I didn't know that was in that picture. And like I want to show you that I look like Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin also ABRH negative bloodline. He's like a relative on my mother's side. My mother's mother Anne. We basically, it goes back to the Cossacks, and probably actually further back to Chinese imperial bloodline, to be honest with you. And if you search Vladimir Putin's bloodline or his family tree, it's like very speculated that he has roots back to like Mao Zedong or Chinese imperial bloodline. But you can see him. I have other pictures as well. I'll show it. But here, like, again, same thing. Two separate pictures. Promise. Another interesting animal, void. I don't know what the hell it is, really. Another beast with two horns. It's like an eagle with wings. A knife. Some other kind of like deer or demon head or something. Some other kind of interesting creature. Again, the light diffraction is also a big one. Really, really cool. Another knife as well. It looks like it's actually cutting up a fish. The pictures, I promise you, if you look them up yourself with the link I'm going to post, you'll see that they're much better. This is an elongated alien skull with halos of light shining through it. And they almost, like I said, like sometimes the locations where you see them, like they try to tell you something too. But if you look up alien skulls and like elongated cranial formation, you find some interesting stuff. There's like a boot, like some kind of a ski boot, maybe, I don't know. This is one of the better elongated cranial formation pictures that I have, and you can see there it's very crystal clear. Then it turned into this. That was the same picture. Then it turned into like a witch. It was like from the Wizard of Oz or something like that. Like a couple minutes later, and it's like crazy how they just change. They're very, very distinct. Again, I'll show it to you. And here's one. Like I said, this is like I didn't actually take it of the whole thing. It's a fish, like a big fish's mouth eating. It looked like a lure, like maybe trying to tell me like something's trying to lure me in to something. Here's another rabbit picture. Another one of the rabbits. A couple minutes after that, I saw a fox. Kind of interesting. A buddy of mine recently passed away. We used to go fox hunting together. He used to have his squealer call him in. The happy hunting grounds, maybe. This is like a dinosaur. You see the head there. I've seen much better ones of dinosaurs. One when I was driving, and really, really cool stuff there. So yes, this is an anomaly of physics, I guess you could say, and it gets deep into, like, in my opinion, proof of God or proof of spiritualism, articulate creator, wave theory, manifestation of light. Like I said, you have one hydrogen, a sun, that manifests into oxygen, 8, and like they have, like, that's how you get the caudasis, the snakes that bind, and the scepter through it, and then that gives birth to water. Our Earth is 70% water. Our body is 70% water. Also gets into frequency and like consciousness. We'll try to wrap this up here. Like I said, I know that like the reason now why they don't let people like me get off the ground. I truly believe it's related to stuff like this. I surmise that Washington and others, had these abilities maybe, or like wrote about this in their journals, and it was deeply suppressed. Like there's also other possibilities for this, and like nuclear warfare people that can like clear up the air. I've also had like things where I looked at the radar feed online, and like the radar will actually look like specific shapes, or like almost like it can like it changes really really fast. Like it can manifest into storms or like break up really fast as well. Like defies what the weather people say. And ultimately, it's very sad to be me. With, like I said, all this stuff that I talk about, and I don't mean to complain or anything like that, but everything I'm telling you is true, and it's one of the biggest suppressions in the history of the world, is like the truth about real angels and real prophets, and these rare bloodlines. And it gets deep into near death phenomenon as well. And I know that there's other people that have these abilities. Please share with me some of your photos or any information relating to this if you have any. I would greatly, greatly value that. Or even research that you find in conjunction with what I'm telling you. I have many other various divine abilities, psychic alchemy. Um, I talked in depth about this, so I felt compelled to throw this in there. I hope that you find some value in it and enjoy it. Please check out the materials that I showed you for these references. And thank you for your time, as always, stopping here on the Archangel 15. Take care, folks.